Hello there, Couple Wolf from is A Link Between Worlds, Nintendo's 2024 Zelda game. With Paper Mario in May and Luigi's Mansion 2 HD in June, as promised in summer, Mario franchises dominate the first half of 2024. But is that it? Or could a Zelda remastered/remake be next for the Nintendo Switch in the second half of 2024? It might just be. So be sure to leave a like, subscribe and press the notification bell, and let's dive straight into it. 4.24 million copies sold on the 3DS, more than Skyward Sword on the Wii, oozing with exploration, items like the currently deeply missed hookshot, upgrades to these and Link, and being the first sign of return of non-linearity to Zelda. Never re-released, and what is more important to all of us, no version of the game is playable through Nintendo Switch Online or its expansion pack. The closest to playing it on the Switch is A Link to the Past through SNES Nintendo Switch Online. And this is the thing, GameCube, Wii and 3DS games are built differently and have a set destiny on the Nintendo Switch, HD remakes and remasters. Right here we find the biggest Switch HD argument. Well, there's one bigger one which we'll soon get back to. Games that are not on Nintendo Switch Online when getting a remake. This was the case for Link's Awakening when Switch Online was still on NES and SNES Netflix, as Game Boy and Game Boy Advance for the service were still years away. Precisely in 2023, and which top-down Zelda games are already playable in Switch Online and the premium expansion pack, Oracle of Seasons and Ages. And interestingly enough, the Minish Cap, the Capcom Zeldas, making them less attractive for remakes. Meanwhile, the last new top-down Zelda is stuck on the 3DS, a game that started as a concept of wall merging and the growing desire for an A Link to the Past remake. Combine the two with non-linearity and the beloved map of Hyrule for the light world, and we have one of the best 3DS games. Remember, 2013 was an insanely strong year for that system, and this was the Zelda with the most dungeons since, well, its dad, the record-holding A Link to the Past. And it is a classic that is beloved across the fandom, but we all wish it could be played in higher resolution than 240p. 10 years have passed and still nothing. Same was the case, by the way, for Pokemon X and Y, but now Lumia City is returning as Legend ZA in HD in 2025. And I do wonder whether A Link Between Worlds, which is already a sequel to A Link to the Past, could do the same as an HD upscaled port. After all, Miitopia, or Luigi's Mansion 2 HDing the Zelda title, is not only logical, but it also follows all Zelda principles. A popular internally Nintendo-developed Zelda game that has not seen a different remake beforehand, hence eliminating Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask 3D from the same system. The same goes for Triforce Heroes, which was a new 3DS game, but a multiplayer designed title that is the worst rated Zelda and which barely sold. That is right, A Link Between Worlds was the perfect 2023 3DS to Switch HD remaster candidate, 10th anniversary and everything. But then, Tears of the Kingdom got delayed from the previously aimed 2022 release to May 2023, removing the anniversary argument. But if it was already planned and worked on, then it would make sense for 2024. After all, Luigi's Mansion 2 Dark Moon was also released in 2013, but its HD version is coming in 2024. All because Super Mario Bros. Wonder naturally had priority last year. And this is the thing. A Link Between Worlds HD with potential backwards compatibility on Nintendo Switch successor offers an opportunity for Nintendo and the Zelda team. Save future undone remakes like the Minish Cap, the Oracle games, the 3DS N64 remakes, or 3D ports of Wii U remakes/remasters for the next system in proper 4K. Meanwhile, in 2024, getting the easiest project out on the Switch. It is right there waiting to be brought over, and stand as the by far best example of a 3DS to Switch HD remaster. Another achievement for the Nintendo Switch, and with an even better rated game than Luigi's Mansion 2. A Link Between Worlds could very likely surpass Link's Awakening HD, which has sold over 6.6 million copies in September 2019. But why do I think so? Number 1, it is a game with direct ties to A Link to the Past, namely being set in the same Hyrule. Secondly, it has a lot of non-linearity thanks to the item rental, purchase and upgrading system, and in many ways, A Link Between Worlds was our first taste of what awaited in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom in the following decade. Third, is a beloved, though at the same time overlooked Zelda title with multiple villains and a big bad Ganon. Number 4, it would be the remaster of the last new top-down Zelda, 2 years before hopefully the next new top-down Zelda. That one for the 40th anniversary of The Legend of Zelda. A signal that hey, top-down Zelda is awesome, has a future, and doesn't have to be linear. And it is that argument that the Minish Cap or the Oracle games don't have. But there is one more, namely 5, simplicity. With the next system taking a little longer, Nintendo needs something simple, as 2025 might already have something else planned for Zelda. A full-on remake, or perhaps even the ultimate version of Tears of the Kingdom. Thus, the second half of 2024, after the first release of Tears of the Kingdom in 2023, is the perfect moment for a simple remaster. A Link Between Worlds, HD'd from 3DS to Switch, meets that need perfectly. Not only that, it is a popular Zelda game that poses no risk compared to the Minish Cap, which truth to be told is not really as popular, since when Nintendo ports or remasters a game over late in the system's lifecycle, they want something that is proven, aka it must have sold well on a previous system. This is why Link's Awakening was picked to be the first physical release top-down Zelda remake in 15 years. Its original Game Boy version sold 3.83 million, and its Color DX remaster 2.22 million copies. These numbers were no doubt used when bringing it over, despite no prior A Link to the Past remake. And look at that, on the Switch it performed accordingly to these numbers. The Minish Cap, on the other hand, is meeting an uphill battle, as it is the only single-player Zelda game to have sold less than 2 million copies. 1.76 million to be precise. In the entire history of physical Zelda releases, the only new game to sell less is Four Swords Adventures, making a decision about remaking this title as a result a tricky one, especially since this game requires an entirely different art style compared to the Link's Awakening remake, a far bigger and risky investment than a simple remaster of A Link Between Worlds. Add to that the following fact. The Minish Cap is already playable in a brilliant state with Nintendo Switch Online plus expansion pack Game Boy Advance service. Just like Oracle of Ages and Seasons are available in the regular Nintendo Switch Online Game Boy Color service. At the same time, A Link Between Worlds is not found in Nintendo Switch Online or playable on the Switch in any form. But this also has advantages, as there's absolutely nothing on the system itself that could hold sales of this title since, well, there are no alternatives. Add to that the one detail we have omitted up to now, the closure of the 3DS and Wii U eShops last year. Simply put, outside of used 3DS copies of A Link Between Worlds, there's no other way to play this game. Now naturally, the same argument could be used for both the Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD, but well, following the Wii U argument. It is just that they have a different issue. Why split them up? And also why put a remake to the Switch? Naturally, Wind Waker HD had its anniversary as well last year. But what matters the most in Nintendo's eyes? The anniversary of a remake or the original release? The answer is clear with the Wind Waker HD, Majora's Mask 3D, Twilight Princess HD and Skyward Sword HD, all released to celebrate anniversaries of the original releases. Issues that A Link Between Worlds simply doesn't have. It has never been remastered or remade, as it is slightly over 10 years old. But at the same time offers a great looking engine with a semi-simple art style that is the perfect fit for basic upscaling and retexturizing, the everyone is happy solution. Nintendo keeps Game Boy top down and already remade 3D Zelda options for the next system or systems, all to fill in holes in the second half of the 2020s and the first half of the 2030s towards Zelda's 50th anniversary, all while gamers get to relive or play for the first time one of the best Zelda games of all time. One with Link, Zelda, Ganon, the Triforce, 2 Kingdoms, sages, plenty of dungeons, and amazing minigames and music. The 2024 holiday season is by all indication the last Switch exclusive. Not only that, it might depend on a potential Zelda remake/remaster plus a Switch price cut. With those in place, any game in question has no other choice but to sell, preferably around 4 million copies. The Minish Cap, despite its charm, is dragged down by its disappointing late Game Boy Advance sales, even with DS backwards compatibility. As a result, in Nintendo's eyes, it is probably not the best choice in the situation that we find ourselves in, aka end of the Switch lifecycle and potential backwards compatibility on the success. A repetition of what this game faced when it was originally released in 2004 and 2005. That is right, the Minish Cap's North American and Australian 20th anniversary is not 2024, but 2025, since only Japan and Europe got the game in November 2004. But what do you think? Is A Link Between Worlds the best Zelda solution for 2024 with a successor launching sometime next year? Sound off in the comment section down below. If you haven't already, then be sure to leave a like, subscribe and press the notification bell to make this video more visible. And last but not least, a big thanks to you for watching and to all our patreon.com/commonrealm patrons. Special shoutouts go to role producers Zach Johnson and JC Funk, and heroes Holly Wolf, Cheryl and Garrett Hoy. You rock, and please enjoy one or both of these two awesome videos.